Hello, and thank you for joining me for Lecture 3A, Understanding the Physical Development of 4 and 5-year-olds. This is Part 3. Our key concepts that we're going to be looking at this time are the 4 and 5-year-olds becoming increasingly independent, where preschoolers also have this increased language comprehension and expressive language skills. They still are very dependent on you. So 4 and 5-year-olds are a little bit different than 3-year-olds. The objectives that we're going to be covering in this lecture are that we're going to describe the physical, cognitive, and social emotional development of 4 and 5-year-olds. And we're also going to explain how you as a teacher can plan your programs to relate to these 4 and 5-year-olds. That is what we call DAP, or developmentally appropriate practice. So with physical development, which is one of the domains that we will begin to talk about, remember there are 5, the physical development of 4 and 5-year-olds. So as preschool children, when we use the term preschool, we're actually talking about 3, 4s, and 5-year-olds. So as preschool children grow and learn, they need new experiences and they need challenges. They need challenges in their gross motor development, which is their large muscles, and their fine motor development, which is their small muscles, and also in their self-help skills, which includes learning how to tie their shoes, learning how to button a shirt, learning how to zip their own jackets, learning how to use a fork instead of a spoon, learning how to drink out of an open cup instead of a sippy cup, and also learning to let go of their blankets and their bears and their different items that they hook on to. So that's all part of this big development that happens in their life. So let's talk a little bit more about their gross motor development, which is their large muscles. For 4 and 5-year-olds, they need to be able to hop on one foot and stand on those foots for at least 20 to 30 seconds. When you look at the ELAP assessment tool, you will see that it says hop on one foot, but it also gives you a time frame that you need to see this. They also need to walk downstairs with alternating feet. That means instead of them holding onto the rails and doing one at a time, they need to go down, 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 down with a normal gait. So this is a learning process that needs to take place. So they need stairs to actually practice this on. They also need to balance on one foot for about 10 seconds. They need to be able to walk backwards. They need to ride a bike with training wheels. And then at age 5, they need to transition off those training wheels. They need to learn how to climb fences and march to music by lifting their legs up and down. They need to be able to throw balls overhand instead of like this. And they need to be able to catch the ball without grabbing it like this, but actually catching it with their hands. So in their fine motor development, you're going to see 4 and 5-year-olds stringing beads, actually putting the string inside the bead and threading it, playing small games with small pieces like chutes and ladders, those types of things. They need to be able to work with clay, and by molding them and drawing to more refined forms, you're going to see that they start putting eyes on their people, the nose and the mouth, actually putting the 5 fingers on the hands, those types of things. They need to be able to print their name and control their pencil. one of the things that we need to teach them is they'll go from this down to this. And it's part of our um, part of the curriculum that they need to go. We need to teach them to move from this to this using their index fingers and their thumb to actually control crayons and pencils. So when you see a 4 and a 5-year-old and they're still doing this, their fine motor skill developments are off. Okay, that means they're not developing typically. We also need to begin to teach them to stay in the lines when they color. You'll see them scribble like this, and that's part of the scribbling stage. But as we begin to learn to teach them to refine those skills, you will actually see them begin to color back and forth, and you're reminding them that they need to stay inside the lines and color things with appropriate colors. For instance, grass is green, it's not purple. They need to understand the letters and the sounds that are linked to those, so teaching them phonics is definitely something that's very doable. Self-help skills. Preschoolers become more and more self-sufficient. They need to dress and undress themselves with very little help. They need to use spoons and forks with ease. And as I said, they need to transition from their spoons to their forks. They need to learn how to open their own milk cartons to prepare them for kindergarten. And they need to learn how to take care of their own hygiene by brushing their teeth, learning to dress themselves, learning to put their coats on, brushing their hair. All these things you need to begin to talk about. We also need to talk about bears and blankets and how not bringing them to school, not degrading the fact that they have those because they are comfort things, but actually teaching them that bringing them to school is not what they need to do because they need to prepare for kindergarten for that. So when we're teaching 4-year-olds, we need to consider that 4 and 5-year-olds are cooperative and they like to help. That's one huge thing that they like to do. You will see a huge difference between a 4-year-old at the beginning of the year in August to a 4-year-old at the end of May of the academic year. Around Christmas time, they let off their baby part of them and they start to grow and become more cooperative. They want to be helpers, but yet they love that enduring love that a teacher can give them. They're quite talkative. They have lots of questions because their cognitive mind is moving at such a fast pace. Oftentimes you will see them stutter. They will begin to stutter. And this is a very normal thing because their mind is going so fast that their speech cannot keep up with it. And so a stuttering process takes place. But if that stuttering continues, that's when we need to be concerned about that. But you will see stuttering at this particular stage. They like to play with each other. They have great imaginations. During their 4-year-old year, I usually say around October, November, they will begin to imagine bears and monsters and all those sorts of things. ADU 204, right? And they're very proud of their possessions. So they enjoy working on projects. They enjoy building things. They enjoy seeing the progress of different things that they do. 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds are amazing. They're my very favorite age. They love to fall in love with their teachers. They will tell you, oh, you're the most beautiful thing in the world. But then they will also tell you, Miss Maria, your dress is ugly. So they're very honest. And you can't help but just giggle at them because they are so honest. So, what are some examples of projects that 4 and 5-year-old children enjoy? Thinking back over the years when I was a 4 and 5-year-old teacher, you know, they are just getting really good at cutting things. So, I always remember their Valentine boxes, them decorating their own Valentine boxes, decorating their Christmas trees at Christmas with their ornaments is amazing, and how proud they are of what they have accomplished. So little projects like that they could see. They love bugs, and so doing a bug collection with them is extraordinary. They just enjoy different things like that. Have fun with these 4 and 5-year-olds. They are so eager to learn. They're like little sponges, and you just have to get in there and just work with them. Make sure they use their hands a lot, use their bodies a lot. Um, Doing like body alphabet on the floor is hilarious with them. They really love that. And when they start that giggling thing, you know that you have hit like the spot. Um, so, because they just love doing stuff like that. So, how have the gross motor and fine motor skills of a 4-year-old changed? Well, they go through those stages. So you're going to see, the first stages in their scribbling when they're to those scribblings become more defined, and now their scribbles make sense. And so you see that in their fine motor skills. In their gross motor skills, you're going to see them more capable of doing higher level body art, jumping over things, moving their legs appropriate, those kinds of things. They can actually control their bodies, which is a good thing, because you have to teach them to control their bodies so that when they go into kindergarten, they're not doing all this flapping arm stuff and not knowing how to stay in their space and the space zone between a person. So all of this is transforming into that. It's very neat. Okay, so in our glossary words, we need to look at what is articulation. That is the ability to speak clearly and pronounce sounds. So that is why it's important for you as teachers to have great diction, to understand the phonetic sounds that are appropriate, like a, e, I, which are the short vowel sounds, and the long vowel sounds of a, e, I, o, u. And you see how my mouth is moving? Because that is my articulation of having to pronounce those sounds correctly. We also began to do what is called rote counting in preschool. Rote counting is saying where a child can count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's reciting numbers in their proper order. However, rote counting does not constitute the fact that they know what quantity 2 is or what quantity of 8 cars is. If they can count out 8 cars, that is actually counting. But rote counting is just reciting the numbers. It's the same thing as reciting the alphabet. That is rote alphabet. Okay? I talked a little bit about stuttering. Stuttering is a speech disorder that is often characterized by repetition, hesitation, and prolongation. So I told you that this is normal at this beginning stages because of their brain cognitive functions. It's functioning faster than they can actually speak.